Holly was about to go to bed. Suddenly a man appeared. Not waiting for her to respond, he injected an anesthetic into Holly's neck. When she regained consciousness, Holly found herself locked in a cage like a dog. Today I will bring you a romantic and horror movie. Seth is a pet caregiver. Seth's daily job is to make friends with cats and dogs. At night when he got home from work, he met Holly, a former high school classmate. Seth has always secretly loved her. The feelings that were hidden for a long time were awakened. He spoke directly to her. But Holly was not familiar with Seth. The two did not have a common topic to talk together. When Seth wants to ask Holly for a coffee, Holly immediately made an excuse to get out of the bus. That made Seth's self-esteem be severely influenced. He was determined to approach Holly, so as not to hesitate at the next meeting. Seth begins to learn about Holly's past and interests. Seth records that information. Every day he will stand in front of the mirror practicing. Seth with his thick skin looked to Holly's place of work. He used the excuse of wanting to have lunch to find opportunities to approach her. He wanted to ask her to go out with him. Holly looked at his poor figure. He went to the restaurant and ordered only a glass of water. Holly told him she had a boyfriend and asked him to stay away from her. When Holly got home at night, she told this story to her best friend Claire. He said that a poor man followed her. When the two were having a good conversation, Holly's ex-boyfriend called to ask to come back. Holly was moved by his sweet words. The next day, Holly received a bouquet. She thought it was from her ex-boyfriend. Holly went to her ex-boyfriend's workplace. When Holly mentioned the bouquet, her ex-boyfriend said he didn't know about that. It turns out the bouquet was from Seth. At this moment, Seth is standing from a distance silently watching them. Waiting for Holly to leave, he took the opportunity to come to her. Despite careful preparation, when standing in front of Holly, Seth becomes extremely confused. The thick-faced Seth made Holly feel nauseous. She thinks that Seth is a pervert, so she calls her ex-boyfriend to deal with him. Seth was beaten and bruised. At this time, he discovered Holly's diary had fallen on the ground. Seth is like discovering a new world. He read Holly's diary carefully. After reading, he felt extremely scared. It turned out that year, when Holly discovered her boyfriend secretly having sex with her best friend Claire, she was extremely resentful. She purposely creates an accident to kill her best friend. Since then, Holly has suffered from schizophrenia. She has two personalities. If she was in a bad mood, she would kill a homeless man to release her pressure. Seth discovers an abandoned room after a trapdoor. Seth suddenly had an intention to save his goddess. He made an iron cage himself and stole some anesthetic drugs. On a dark night, Seth quietly sneaks into Holly's room. When Holly regained consciousness, she found herself to be locked in a cage. She frantically called for help, but no one heard it. Seth wants to use domesticating animals to do with Holly. For the first few days, Holly still hadn't adapted. She used a hunger strike to protest. She yelled at Seth with terrible words. Seth didn't care much, then turned to leave. For the next few days, Holly could only obediently obey Seth's orders. When Seth gave her the food, she ate frantically. Holly asked Seth if he killed her. Seth replied that he would not. Holly was confused and asked why he locked her up here. It turns out that every time Holly killed people, then her were recorded in her diary. Seth had seen it with his own eyes. He naturally assumed that what he was doing was helping Holly. Seth lost his mind because of love. He decided to use this pervert to save Holly. Seth seems to overestimate himself. Holly is a dangerous girl. She immediately plans to tell Seth that he can save her. That day, Seth went out to buy Holly food. A guard at the animal control department discovered Seth's secret. After Seth left, he went to the secrets room. He saw an unbelievable scene. He can't believe Seth would dare to do something like this. When the security guard is thinking of ways to break the iron cage lock, Seth returns. After learning his secret had been discovered by the other, Seth felt bewildered. Holly also saw Seth, so she told Seth to kill the security guard. Seth was mesmerized. He hit the guard's head with a flashlight. The guard protested strongly. In the process of the two struggles, Holly tripped and caused the guard to fall. Finally, under Holly's guidance, Seth quickly disposed of the body of the guard. After that, Holly continued to hypnotize Seth, causing him to cut off his own finger. Holly wants Seth to prove that his love for her is real. Seth obeyed. His finger being cut made him feel great pain. That moment, Holly took the knife and pointed it to her neck to force Seth to let go of her. Seth then released Holly. The movie ends with Holly and her ex-boyfriend reuniting. Seth is locked in a cage and becomes Holly's pet. Love really makes people crazy. This woman is terrifying. Thank you for watching. Follow my page to watch more film review.